Hey everyone! It's so nice to see so many of you here. I'm Pauline Navas. Welcome to Inspiring Figures, a series of inspiring conversations with people that you should really know about. This month, I'll be talking to my friend Georgie Cooke about a range of different topics, including her journey into tech, fitness, blogging, and more. Without further ado, let's welcome our inspiring figure. Hey Georgie! You're live! It's so lovely to have you here. I'm so excited to speak to you today. How are you doing? How's Australia?
Good. I must say it's an honor. I'm so honored that you asked me to be on this because, yeah.
I mean, like, you've always been on my
list.
Nervous,
but I'm good.
Yeah, you'll be absolutely fine. I mean, like, I've been wanting to have you on this for so long, but I've had the list of people that I've just been like, okay, need to speak to so and so and so and so, and I've just been trying to organize it. So like overwhelming, but I'm so excited that you're here because, for those who are like listening in, we've known each other for years, like and it's just weird. It's cool because you're sort of like one of like my internet friends that I've grown up with, and so it's just pretty cool that now we met last year and then now we're speaking here. It's pretty cool.
It's like exciting every single time as well.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, I know that it's like having to like, because I had an interview series on my blog too, and you were on that. And that was like something I had to kind of keep up with as well. And there's so many inspiring people out there that I wanted to talk to as well for my interviews. So yeah, a lot of work. I totally get it.
Exactly. But so let's start with like a little introduction for those listening in who might not be familiar with what you do. Do you want to just give a quick intro on that?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is I feel like I'm always cleaning my wardrobe. Like if someone asks me, what are you doing today? I feel like I'm like always decluttering my wardrobe, trying to find ways to make it better. I guess we'll talk about that later because I'm interested in like fashion and personal style. But yeah, I was born in Sydney, in Australia, and currently I'm working as a UI engineer. And some things I like to do in my spare time are going to the gym. I like going out and experiencing nature. I like traveling, which unfortunately we can't do much of that right now. And I have a blog, which I guess we'll be talking about a little bit as well.
Definitely there's loads to talk to you about today. Like I have so many questions and because there's a lot of your interests that I just feel like a lot of people are also interested in, so it's nice to see like that overlap. So yeah, shall we start with tech then? Always the best way to start. So yeah, I'm always really interested in like learning about people's journeys, and I always try and like encourage people to share them, because like at the end of the day you don't really know who you'd impact. I know that since I've been sharing my story about, going from biomed to tech, a lot of people have been like, I can go from art to tech, and it's really, really good that I've been able to share that, and I know a lot of people do as well. So I specifically wanted to chat to you about your tech background. Where did your journey begin, and how did you like land yourself this role as a UI engineer?
Yeah, so I think I actually admire a lot of people who move from another industry into tech because it's pretty hard. And for me, I think maybe my journey was more straightforward. So I always start by saying that, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. The first time I learned how to code was on Neopets, and they had these really basic, like obviously not professional, like level tutorials on there. And that was where I first learned to write HTML, and I saw you can make like I don't know what it's like today to play Neopets, but you can make a pet page for your pet, like a website just for your pet. And I remember coming across someone who had this amazing pet page, and they dedicated it not just to their pet, but to like learning CSS. And I thought it was like amazing. and I just kept kind of playing around there. And then I found I think it was Freewebs. It was like a free website builder. So all of this kind of started out for fun. And then when I was in high school, which in Australia is grades 6 to 12, at some certain grades, you could choose different subjects and stuff. And I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career. I was a ballet dancer, and I kind of wanted to pursue that. But then, I don't know, just being kind of thinking about job security, I didn't feel like I could dance forever. So I didn't really pursue that like all the way. And I did work experience in an oral health center because I wanted to be a dentist. And that was really eye-opening. But like the time it would take to become like an orthodontist, which is where I wanted to specialize, was going to take 12 years. And I was like, no. And so I just kind of kept exploring these other things that I was interested in because I just kind of thought that coding and stuff was a hobby, even though I always kind of did it. I was always interested in it. I started a blog and then I kind of designed it the way I wanted to. And then when I went to university, I studied a Bachelor of Arts in Communication, which is just kind of like a lot of essay writing and like media studies. So it wasn't really related to code at all. And then I looked for a part-time job, but I didn't know what I wanted to look for a part-time job in. So I just kind of went on one of those job search websites and I looked for something like data entry because I thought it was going to be easy and like anyone can do this and I can get a bit of money for this. And then from there, I kind of looked at stuff that I could do that was beyond that. And I looked for like front-end development, like building websites. And that was kind of where I kind of got some of my first really small jobs, like part-time jobs. And then I guess from there, that was where I was like, oh, this is actually a viable career path. And then the more I kind of stayed in that area, the more I sort of learned that there's actually a career related to this. So yeah, I think that's what that was the beginning of my journey and how I kind of eventually just got to where I am today.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I completely forgot. I think you mentioned to me before about the dentist thing, but that's really cool. It's so cool that you've like managed to dabble around different areas and finally find one that works for you. That's really cool. I think for me, I was like I wanted to do biomed. I was gonna be a doctor, but I also looked into like communications and social media because I was like maybe that's something I could do. But then eventually ended up in tech, and I think I'm staying unless someone tries to kick me out. But you know, that's a different conversation. So, moving on to that, actually, in a sort of similar conversation, I love how you advocate for women in technology, and I've seen that you've used the hashtag I look like an engineer hashtag so many times on like across social media. And it's been I always like look forward to those posts in like International Women's Day and whenever you just tweet about it, I think it's great. So why do you think it's important to have more women in tech and just more diversity in tech in general?
So I think there's just like tech has always been this, like computers have always been seen as this man's job, boy's job kind of thing. And I didn't really realize this until like someone pointed it out. So I had this computer class with one of my friends in like grade 10. And the teacher was this really nice older guy. And he would always like let us into the classroom first. So like my friend and I were the only two girls in the whole class of like boys. And he just let us in first. And I was just like, why are we, getting this special treatment? And it's just like you sit there in the class and there's just so many boys and you don't see anyone who kind of like even looks like you. And like when you're a woman and you kind of just get outnumbered like that, you notice it even if no one says anything, you internally feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just felt that a lot throughout like my career so far. And I think once you talk to other women as well, you notice that they also have this conception that this misconception that tech is just for men, like that they're not capable of like coding, of like
Saying about internalizing like it's not for me it was like when I was in my computing class is what they call it here. I was one of the only girls there and I remember walking in and I was like no one said anything. No, well, there was one boy that said something, but even if he hadn't said anything, I immediately felt like I didn't belong there because no one else looked like me, and no one. I don't know. And every time like I try to get involved with their conversations, they'll be like, "Yeah, but you're a girl, so yeah, what are you
Yeah.
doing?"
And it
Yeah, and
just
it's just
felt kind of uncomfortable as well. And like that's why I like these the women in sorry the International Women's Day topics, because they've inspired me to kind of write about my experiences that I wouldn't have really kind of talked about or opened up about, because you just kind of feel it inside. You don't like discuss it. And it's just, it's weird. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, I totally get that. And I think like this is why we need more of these like groups to and more women to like talk about their experiences. And this is why I think it's really great. I've had loads of like women in tech on this show, and they've always said that similar to what you've said. And it's been nice because they do a lot of like active work to make sure that they encourage other people to get involved. So yeah, no, that's really, really important. And yeah, just keep advocating for it, Georgie, because I love it. I love it every single year and every single day. I know that you really advocate for it, and it's just really inspiring to see. So like just moving on towards it's sort of similar to in terms of like women in tech and community, but I know that you love to do a lot of mentoring, which is like super encouraging to see. Paying it forward is really important, but I think um, a lot of people, I think here in terms of like maybe it's just from my experience, but a lot of people don't tend to like see once they get to like a specific point in their career, they're just like, oh, I don't need to like help anyone else. I've already like reached this point for myself rather than thinking about other people. So it's really nice that you think about others. So what is the most important advice you give to like people you mentor? This can be like either people that you've mentored or something someone has said to you, like your mentor has said to you in
Yeah.
terms of advice.
Okay, I think for me, it's definitely like to focus on your own journey, and this I think applies to a lot of things, because a lot of people compare themselves to other people, and there's like a quote that says like don't compare like your level 0 with someone else's like level 100, because it just doesn't compare, and when you put yourself in that position, you compare yourself to someone else, you don't realize your own achievements. And I have mentored some people who kind of they struggle and they see like the bigger world out there, which can be scary, but it's like it's good to expose yourself to what's out there. But they'll get really like frightened and then they'll doubt themselves. But what I've noticed after mentoring some people is that after a certain period of time, like they'll talk to me and then I'll give them like suggestions on what to work on. And then like 6 months later, I'll be like, you should look at where you were like 6 months ago and compare that to where you are now. And like I can see that growth, but they don't notice until I point it out. And it's like, I don't know, it's really, and my manager did the same thing to me as well, because one of the reasons I started mentoring is because I was in that position as well where I was sort of struggling to see my kind of skills and how much I had grown. But yeah, my manager said to me, like, if you look at yourself like where you were 6 months ago, he said it as like a reminder, like you have learned like so much during that time. And so I think it's important to remind people to always kind of focus on their own journey, because then that also like not only does it make you realize your achievements, but it helps you motivate yourself like by focusing on what you're doing rather than kind of going, oh, someone's learning something over there, I should pick that up, or someone's doing this and I should do that. And it can feel really overwhelming, and especially in tech when everything's like moving really fast. But if you focus on what you're doing, like it's just so much better, and like just you have this like self belief and you feel better, like self-worth.
Yeah, definitely. That sort of reminds me of so on my graduate scheme that I've rolled off recently, I like so all the different graduates get to like pick which team they get to go into next every 6 months. So you have like 4 different rotations, and every single time we were like picking the next rotation, there would I felt like there was like this thing where people would ask. oh, what are you doing? Like, why are you picking that, you know? And instead of like focusing on themselves, and I'm guilty of this too. Like, I've seen other graduates in my cohort who have gone into more businessy areas, and I've always been like, maybe I should go into businessy areas, even though I have no fucking interest at all with like business related like roles. So I don't know. I just I've been there where I've been like looking at other people, seeing what they've been doing, and I've been like, okay, maybe I should do the same. But then I think, like you said, having that reminder that you need to focus on yourself and where you want your career to go is really, really important. And yeah, and then just look at like I've looked back, I don't know, like the last 2 years since I first started my first like professional job. And then that what I know now, it's crazy. But I think like a lot of people tend to forget to like look back. They just keep looking forward. They're like, what's the next thing? Why don't I know Kubernetes yet? Or some other stuff. And it's like, oh, you know.
I don't know Kubernetes.
Trust me, like it's part of my job that I need to know it. But every single time I'm just like, I can't learn it. Because I need to like, you know, make my way towards learning it better. But like, I don't know, I just get really overwhelmed with, like you said, with tech. There's so many people, like, when I log into Twitter, everyone's talking about this new framework or some new thing that you need to get on top of, or else your job is gone in like 5 years. I don't know, it just seems really ridiculous. But I think, like you said, you just need to focus on your own journey. So yeah. So yeah, that's the tech talk. I love talking about tech. I love talking about journeys, but on to my favorite topic, blogging. Whew, love blogging. Best topic ever. I actually really want to chat to you about this, Georgie, because like I said at the start, we first connected over blogging. So this is, I imagine this is a really special subject for us. So could you share a bit about your blogging story, when and how you started blogging, and yeah, good to go from there. I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm just like
Yes, this is an exciting topic for me as well. Because it just feels like this huge part of me, a huge part of my life. Because I guess I've been doing, I think like a couple of years ago, I was like, whoa, I've been doing this for like over half my life, and that's when it becomes kind of scary. So when I was younger, I kept a diary, like I guess a journal. People call it journaling these days. And it was weird. I actually wrote about this in my blog recently because I started journaling again. But like people thought it's like a really girly thing, and it's not, right? Like anyone can journal these days. But I really liked to write stories, poetry. But I wrote in my diary as also just like friend, like diary, blah blah. And from there. This is kind of where it overlaps with I found Neopets, and I had the internet at home, and everything was all kind of exciting, and like I was exploring. So I started like playing with Neopets, and then I realized there's this thing called like blogging, keeping like a diary online. And I thought this was kind of cool because around that time, me and my friend were kind of reading each other's diaries. Like we didn't really care. We didn't want to be like secrets. So we just shared each other's diaries with each other. And then so when I came back from blogging and how it was like an online diary, I kind of drew some parallels, and it felt like I could share some of my like thoughts and my stories with just like other people. Like I didn't think about how big the internet was, or the world, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
At the time, right? And it was around like 2002, and I was like 13 years old, something like 12, 13 years old. And I guess from there, the certain things I blogged about, they got really personal. Like I'd be just as open on my blog as I was in my diary. And these days, I think if anyone watching has like read my blog in the past like couple of years, they'll know that I'm not like heaps personal. It's like personal stuff. But like back then, there was some stuff in there that probably should have been a bit more private.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like I don't have any, like I haven't kept anything from like before 2009. It just kind of deleted it. I think I had it on my computer, and then just many years later, I was like, I don't think I need to keep this around anymore, so I'll just remove it. But for me, it became like this kind of like personal reflection tool, and I can always go back and then I can remember things that I'd actually forgotten about. So I was writing a post recently, and I kind of had to go back and reference some stuff, and I read these things that I'd written it was only like 7 years ago in like 2012. And I read these things, and I was like, wow, I forget this happened. And so for me, it's kind of valuable as a bit of a kind of log of my life. I know this might not benefit everyone. Like, this is not for everyone. Some people might, like, I mean, some people journal their whole life. Other people are just not really into it, or they don't even keep a private journal or anything like that. But I think for me, it's just, I've had an opportunity to kind of write down all these things and then also share them with people. And I think, like, one of the best things about sharing my thoughts and my experiences with people is that some people were actually able to relate to those things. And I think that was like the most kind of mind-blowing and like just really heartwarming thing, that there were just these strangers like on the other side of the world who kind of understood how I was feeling as well. Like, so sometimes it could be emotions of like maybe I was upset about something or stressed, and other times it was like joyful, or it was about like family or something like that. And that has been just like really like rewarding, because it's not something I've had to put like a great deal of effort into, because it's like, it's just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think like what you said about it just being like an online diary. That's how I describe my blog to people. But then people have also asked me, like, so do you share everything there? And I'm always like, obviously not everything. Although, like you said, when I look back to some of my posts, I'm sort of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have posted that. Maybe I shouldn't have like shared that with the world. But some of them I've now like privated, obviously, because some of them are super personal. But like I also like looking at back at them myself, because I've seen how much I've grown as a person. I've gone from like being super shy and super like to myself to more like in I was gonna say introverted, extroverted. So yeah, no, definitely, I totally get that. I think one of the things I wanted to ask you was around what blogging means to you today, because I know a lot of people tend to think as blogging as like a tool you can use to like promote a product, or to like, you know, promote yourself, and it's all about personal brand. And I hate that word, but it's like it's the word that people use every time they read my blog. They're like, this is so great for your personal brand, and I wish there was a different word to like describe it. But yeah, what does blogging mean to you today? And like what continues to what motivates you to continue blogging? Because I know people, when they think about engagement, they're like, oh, that's all I care about, because it's for personal brand and all that shit. So
yeah, I don't love the personal brand thing either, because like this isn't like a marketing thing. This has come from like a personal sort of like, and the way I found a way to like summarize this in one of my talks a couple of years ago, and it is to tell your story. Excuse me. So it's me telling my story to the world. It's not like I'm not trying to sell anything. It's literally just like myself. And so that's how I kind of see it today. And I think what motivates me to keep going is partially the fact that I've just been doing this for so long. But it's not just me sharing stuff with people, but it's just for myself, because like I enjoy writing, and I've gotten, I guess, better at like writing as well. And sometimes I have these topics that come about because I just have some thoughts on something, and maybe I want to have a discussion with people about it, or I just want somewhere, sorry, I just want somewhere to kind of write that down, and I'm okay with that being public. Like if I wasn't, and like, so I started journaling again a month ago. If I wasn't okay with it being public, I just write them there. So I guess it's partially because I've had the space there all the time, and people have been pretty nice about it. Like they are interested in what I have to write. Yeah. And and you mentioned like people like engagement and stuff like that. Like I feel like that's just a reward for what I do. Like I don't do that hoping that like 100 people are going to read this post. Like, so many people are going to like I don't even know how many people look or app or read my blog these days. Like sometimes I'll share it on social media and I'll get like a like on Twitter. Someone will respond to it, like they'll have something to say about it, and they'll just send me a message there. I think it's just like I've got this collection of writing, and I just want to keep adding to it. Again, going back to the fact that I can go back on and reflect on them personally and see how much I've grown, So it's a bit of a personal thing. It's a bit of I get to engage with people and like maybe make some new friends as well when they can relate to stuff that I write. So that's kind of what just keeps me going, like coming back to it and keeps on like I keep on going.
Yeah, I actually have a follow-up question to that. Like, do you think you'll continue doing this in like a few years? That I've put you on the spot there,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to know, like,
I'm pretty sure I will. I remember making this joke like must have been like 10 years ago when I was really young. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be doing this when I'm 90. Like even if it's in like a really small amount, just like Grandma Georgie writing. So like, yeah, I needed some stuff that whatever it is. I don't know. I think writing is something that you can kind of just you can engage in it at any age, like
mhm.
whether you're like 10 or like 30 or 50 or 70. Like writing stuff is like, and even if I probably didn't keep a blog, maybe I'd be into, I don't know, continuing to write poetry or
Yeah.
something else. But I guess it's also kind of like using my voice kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I
But
mean, like
yeah, a
I've
few
been
years,
thinking
I think
about
I'll still be.
yeah, well, I've been thinking about this recently because I was like, okay, in 10 years, I'm like, I don't know, like, I'll be 30, whatever, 30. How old am I? I completely forgot my age. Whew. I'll be like over 30, and then one day I'll be over 40, and then I'll be over 50, and I was like, am I still gonna be doing this? So I don't know. I think I'm sort of the same. I think I'll be quite, I don't know. I think I would. I think I'd continue like writing at least like once a year, just one post. Like, hey, this is what's happened. But
The year in
yeah,
review. It'd be the elusive year in review.
yeah, just that one post. So my last question for blogging is a lot of people come to me and ask for blogging advice, and I tend to just say something probably really cliche, but it works for me, like just write or something like that. What's
Yeah,
your
me
advice?
too.
What's your advice for the
I think maybe some people get stuck with like what they should write about, and that's where something like having some there's heaps on the internet. There's like writing prompts, and they like that's probably a good place to start if you literally have no idea what you want to write about. But I guess some other ideas, something more interesting, what I personally consider more interesting, and that you like, I think most people find it interesting, to write about stuff like more related to you. Like
Mhm.
maybe you have a pet dog that you want to write about. Maybe you had like a funny experience when you went to a restaurant with a friend or something. Something that I really like hooked onto like about 10 years ago is I would write about childhood stories. I don't know why, but at the time as like an 18-year-old, I would just remember these things that happened as a child that were like funny or weird or and I guess this is like a part of growing up as well, and that's why they were really interesting and like to write about both like for me to write about for people to read. um I think a lot of stories about your experiences and how you learn stuff and you grew as a person, or you had some experience that where you got a big revelation out. I think those make really interesting things. Like yeah, and then as for continuing to like motivation wise, like I have a list of things that I want to write about, and I just kind of keep that on my phone. And I mean, I don't get a lot of ideas all the time, but I just drop it in there if I have even like a small idea that might be worth expanding on, or just something like a funny story. But yeah, I think you just have to also, and if you really want to sit down and write stuff, I think you have to kind of discipline yourself to sit there and just, this is like that motivational thing where it's like, just spend 5 minutes doing something, just make yourself do it for 5 minutes, and then you're like,
Yeah.
after the 5 minutes, like, oh, I'm on a roll. And this has actually like worked for me a lot, because other times I just sit there twiddling my thumbs, just going, no, I don't want to do it. But if I sit there and just try to write something for 5 minutes, I'll end up sitting there for like hours.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I think that is really good advice. I think I've also got like a list of things that I've had for I think like 4 years, just a list of blog post ideas, but I've just not had the chance to write them. And some of them are so outdated now that people probably don't care. It's like this random story. I don't even remember it myself, like random things that have happened. Like, and I was like, oh, I really want to write about this, but then I don't remember them now. But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
really, really good advice.
That's there, right? If you ever feel like, I feel like I should write about something, then you still have like this kind of thing to go back to and go, oh, maybe I should try like have a go at this idea I wrote down a while.
Exactly. So one of my favorite series on your blog actually over the years has been Fashion Friday. I feel like that deserves a clap, but I love Fashion Friday. Yes, it's like one of the most iconic like series on your blog, and I've really, really enjoyed it over the years. Could you tell us a bit about it and like what's your inspiration of starting it?
So I started it 2013, I think. So that's a really long time for like a series to be running my blog or consistently. I think it was like a break of like 1 year like recently, and then I started it back up again. But I've always been interested in like expressing myself through what I wear, and I got this inspiration, I'm pretty sure, from my mom. She always put she put so much effort into how she presented herself, the way she dressed. She like really sought out like clothes that she liked to wear, and like I guess by extension she sort of inspired me to kind of express myself through the way I dress as well. And I just really enjoyed that. And like, obviously when you're a kid, your parents like dress you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For me that was the case until like a certain age where I guess I started maybe looking at stuff. I mean, magazines, but like I don't read magazines now, but when I was a kid, they were like a big thing. And I look at magazines, and I also, even today, like I would just like people watch and pay attention to how other people express themselves. And I just found that really interesting, like looking at what other people wear, and you can tell that they're expressing themselves through their style. And somewhere like in my early teens, I was like, I don't really like what my mom bought me here. I'm going to like explore and see like what I can buy for myself. And so I guess I considered my style to be, it got a bit like punk rocky at some stage.
Iconic. I remember that.
And that's when I started to get really passionate about expressing myself. And then because I just kind of like looked at clothes, and I just kind of, my style changed over time. I thought it'd be an interesting thing to write about on my blog. And that's when I started Fashion Friday. And I asked one of my friends at the time to, oh no, we're still friends now. I mean, at the time, I asked one of my friends to take some photos of me in the city, just of my outfit. And something I want to point out as well is that like I don't super agree with the name Fashion Friday, because it kind of suggests it's like this catwalk trends kind of thing. But I've never been a person to really follow trends, so it's more about like this series started as me to kind of show my style at different times, and like the outfits I created with what I owned and that kind of thing. So in a way, like some people might see Fashion Friday and be like, oh, it's just like a fashion blogger thing, whatever. But I just really want to stress that I am not like a typical fashion blogger. And I've had some friends like mention this as well. It's like, it's just one of the topics that I write about in my blog. Like I write about so many other things, but I'm just really passionate about expressing myself. So Fashion Friday basically is every like couple of weeks I'll show like an outfit that I wore and talk about it. And the way I talk about it is not like, I got this in a haul or something.
Oh my gosh.
It's not like someone sent me this to like model. This is actually stuff from my actual wardrobe that I love to wear, and I talk about why I matched it with these shoes and whatnot. And one of my friends mentioned that like she likes it because this, like, you can tell that I'm not paid to do this, because you see the same clothes appear in all my things, like, oh, she's wearing this jeans again, or she's wearing this shoes again. And so it's just something I've remained really passionate about ever since, and that's why it's still kind of going right now.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think like you said, it's not like a typical fashion blogger where they link all their clothes that were sent to them. It's very personal, and like it shows how your personal style has changed over time, which is actually the next question. It's been nice to like see it constantly evolve. But how do you go about setting up your personal style? I think we've had conversations about this before, and I'm still like, we could endless conversations, because I feel like I'm still I'm still trying to figure out what I don't know what my personal style is. Right now it's just like bright colors, but it's because it's summer. And in the winter I tend to just go for like a black jumper, mostly a black jumper to be honest. Sometimes I wear like my bright yellow jumper, but yeah. So yeah, how do you go about like setting up your personal style?
I think it's like because you have to kind of accept that it's something that changes all the time. Like some people go, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy like all these things, and this is like suits me. I mean, I can wear this for years, but I think what some people don't realize is that like that totally has the potential to change over time. Like your body might change, and this is something I've experienced as well because like I've gained a bunch of like weight and muscle from like working out at the gym, and like my body shape has changed. So some of the stuff that I used to like wearing, I just can't really wear now because it doesn't suit me. I think what I've started to do recently is pay attention to I gravitate towards. And a good way of kind of looking at it is like, no matter how old you are, if you look back quite a while back, like many years back, like what were you always like kind of gravitated towards? And I always gravitate towards like this cobalt blue color. Like it doesn't matter, like always drawn to like bright colors. And then black, like although recently I don't love wearing black as much because like we've talked about this because my hair used to be red and I wore black all the time. But now my hair is my natural color, and when I wear black, I feel really dull. So then I gravitate towards bright colors. It's like I've watched endless videos of like other people's, and this is what I find it interesting as well. Like not just fashion, like for what I wear, but what other people wear. I've watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to like figure out your personal style and that kind of thing. And I've also kind of written about my experience about that on my blog a little bit. And I think something like because it's a personal style, you'll see a lot of stuff about people having these formulas and like you need like a pair of jeans, you need a white t-shirt. I know I'm wearing a white t-shirt now, but you need like this and that. And just sometimes that doesn't work for everyone. And there are going to be these rules that you find when you try to find resources about your personal style on the internet. There's going to be all these rules that you will try and then not agree with. And I think there's probably like a big piece of advice I want to give is that like they're just rules and like, I mean, they're just guidelines. So the reason it's personal is because it's about you. So what it works for someone else isn't going to work for yourself necessarily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like when I was trying to set up my own personal style, I was always looking at what was trendy and I was always like following what was on trend and just trying to make that like part of my style. But then I don't know, I just felt like most of the time I didn't love what I was wearing and I was just following the crowd to like fit in with other people. But eventually over the years now I'm just sort of like, I don't really know what my personal style is, but I know that I don't follow the trend as much. But yeah, no, that's really, really interesting. I think we could talk about, fashion. Couldn't we? Honestly, we have, to be honest. To those listening, we have. But yeah, another topic that we're like both equally passionate about and that I really wanted to talk about today is health and wellness. So I actually, this month, I think it's next week, it's my anniversary of exercising consistently for 4 years, and I make a big deal out of it because to me it is a big deal. It's been the thing that's transformed my life completely, and I'm sure like a lot of people who commit to like a healthy lifestyle could probably say the same. I'm really curious and interested, and I'm sure a lot of people are, because a lot of people that I know who follow you and who also follow me always love your like workout selfies in the morning, love the detail. We're always like, yes, she got her PB in, yes, love it. So yeah, how did you start your fitness journey?
Oh, okay, so I need to cough again, sorry. Drinking so much water and my throat's dry. I was not big on exercise when I was a kid. I did ballet and I did all this other dancing, but when it came to like PE, did you call it PE, physical education, and like sport stuff in school, I didn't like it at all. And I was really, and I still am kind of introverted, so I just didn't like team sports either. I just couldn't get into it. I'd just be that kid sitting right on the side and trying not to participate, and I didn't see exercise as like a part of wellness. I just thought I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. And I struggled a bit with like eating when I was a teenager. Content warning, like content warning, eating like disordered eating. I found myself. I don't know why actually. It might have been because I was surrounded by a lot of dancers who were like really thin. I just felt like I wasn't small enough or like thin enough, even though I actually was. I look back now and I'm just like, oh damn, I was like really, really skinny. And so I didn't prioritize my health. Like my mom fed me really well. Like she made me eat like fruit every single day. She gave me vegetables like every meal. But as I got older and like as I got older, I just kind of like that all kind of went out the window, and I just didn't. I refused to eat, and I just kind of saw exercise as a way of getting smaller and losing weight. And so I started running a lot and just trying to move to like lose weight. And when I started going to the gym, which was in like I guess I can't even remember. It might have been 2014. Yeah, I think it was about 2014. I didn't have any goals, but I feel like I'm always learning more and more about fitness, even now, many years later. So when I started, I think I wanted to tone up, right? And this has been talked about so many times. It's like it's just this marketing ploy. Tone up is just the same as like building muscle, like building lean muscle or whatever. And so I didn't understand anything, but I did like a session with a trainer, and she was saying you got to lift some weights. And I think every woman goes through this, and they're like, no, I don't want to lift weights because they're gonna look like the Hulk and all of this. I didn't get it. That's why I feel like I'm always learning stuff, because there's just a lot out there as well, and a lot of bad like misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation. But I guess when I started lifting weights, I was like, oh, this is interesting, because like it was fun. I felt strong. It was something different, and I think that's what kind of made me keep going, is because I started to feel strong. And another thing is when I started, like, it was also kind of like because I knew someone who kind of made me not feel very good about myself. Like they made me feel kind of weak, and then I'd realized that up to that point, even my mom would be worried about stuff like, and she brings this up every now and then, but like she said when she bought a new kettle for our house, she had to think about how I couldn't like lift up the kettle when it was full of water because I was so skinny and weak. Yeah, and she brings this up now because obviously I'm stronger. But she was like, yeah, she said, I can't believe it. Like, you know, like obviously like now like you've changed so much. But I just remember like I remember hearing that and knowing that just basically my whole life I hadn't felt very strong. And so when I started lifting weights and realizing that I had the potential to kind of be stronger, I just kept going at it. Obviously I made some mistakes and my form was like so bad at the beginning. But yeah, like I said, I'm always learning, and I just kept going with that. And I made friends with some people at work who also really like going to the gym. I learned some stuff from them. They weren't like judgmental or anything. I just learned a lot of stuff. And obviously, like I struggled with like my mental health as I was growing up as well. But when I exercised and I got into fitness, it kind of helped that for me as well. And I realized I was taking care of my body. And I said this in a talk once. I was like, if you take care of your body, it will take care of you back. And I believe that, right? And so I feel like for me as well, and like for you as well, getting into fitness was something that changed my life because it improved me mentally and physically. And then now it's like, instead of kind of going towards a specific goal or like I want to get a six-pack, which I've been there too, right? Like I thought that was like the thing I had to do, and that was like a sign of health, but it's not, right? And so I keep doing it because it's like for my own health, and it's fun, and because it's just so broad as well. Like you can do, like we just like lift weights, right? But then you can do running, you can do hiking, you've been doing skipping, right?
Yeah, I love skipping.
Like dancing is still a sport. You can like play team sports. You can go for a swim. You can just like go for a walk. There's just like so many different things you can try as well. And I've realized that if I change it up a bit or try something new, that it'll always keep it interesting. Because I mean, like, I guess what I realized is as a kid, I thought exercise was crap, but now like it's necessary, and so it has to be fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I really related to what you were saying about PE because I actually didn't. I pretended I was on my period and I was like, I was always like, oh, I have severe period pain, so I can't exercise. And then my my PE teacher would be like, that, exercise helps with period cramps. And I'd be like, no, it doesn't, not for me. And I'd always try and sit out. Yeah, exactly. But now it's like when I look back and when I tell other people that I hated PE and any sports, they're like super shocked because they're like, well, you're so like into fitness. It's really weird that completely changed. But I think that's part of it, part of the journey. So in terms of like fitness and the fitness space, social media, whew, I don't know. We're going to talk about this. So
Yeah,
social media is like social media is such a huge part in I know for you and for me, we follow like fitness influencers. I hate that word as well. Oh, cringe. Fitness people on Instagram, and it's really great because at the start of my journey, I used Instagram as a tool for inspiration to motivate me to get up and actually do my workout. But I know that sometimes social media can have the opposite effect and can cause like I don't know bad mental health days. It could cause people to compare themselves. How do you stay like on track and focus in terms of that? Because I know people can get easily distracted in terms of like seeing that, oh, so and so has like a six pack and I've been exercising for a year and I still don't have a six pack, and they've got bigger guns than me. How come? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard. Like so I've had to actually unfollow some
Hmm.
people in the past like 6 months because what I realized is that like some of them they post positive stuff, but it'll be like hidden behind a photo of some abs.
Hmm.
And like we all know people don't always read the caption. And like I want to follow people who are like real. And so a lot of these influencers, some of them aren't really they don't really post like the real, they post the highlights. And
Yeah.
so what I've been trying to look for is people who post like stuff that helps you realize that you're on your own journey and how you look like is okay. You shouldn't compare yourself to other people. And I guess the other thing is this lack of body diversity as well. If
Yeah.
you're just seeing like six packs and shredded abs and like people with 10% body fat,
Hmm.
like I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but that's not always healthy either. Like if you have a really low percent of body
Yeah.
fat, it's kind of not maintainable either. And so like I don't think fitness should be about achieving a body goal. It should be about like being healthy overall. And so I kind of try to look for people whose bodies don't like represent this thing that we've seen for like decades of like this. You know what I just thought of? You know that ab swing infomercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, crap like that. And like now we know better, right? That's not going to get you a six pack. And the person who's on that machine probably already had a six pack to begin with
Oh,
before they advertise.
definitely. Yeah.
So it's yeah, and I want to see more people who are happy and healthy, and like small does not mean that like you are healthy. Having abs doesn't mean that you're healthy. And it kind of like it I don't know if I'm using the right language here, but it kind of propagates this thing where you have to be like skinny and have abs, be lean to be fit. But there are so many people who are big, who are fat, who are curvy, who are fit as well. And I just want to see more people like that who still like are into fitness
Yeah.
because we need more role models like that. We need people who look like us. We don't want people
Exactly.
who have these like bodies where they've spent like years like doing competition and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think my method is to kind of like pay attention to who I'm following.
Oh,
And
definitely.
if someone isn't like if someone isn't posting stuff that feels like realistic, and they're just posting their highlight reel. I don't really want to see, like, it's like, no offense, but I just want to see people who are more real.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like, I think for me, it took me a while to realize that some people on Instagram, some influencers I was following, were affecting me quite badly. And so at the start of my fitness journey, I share this in a future blog post coming up actually. But at the start of my journey, I was just wanting to be super lean, and I actually hit my body fat percentage goal, which was like something stupid like 15 to 16%, which is like insane. But like I remember I look back at pictures there, and like my abs are like popping out, and I'm like, yes, I feel, I don't know, like when I look back to it, like I obviously worked really hard to like lower my body fat, but at the same time I was so restrictive that I was actually super unhappy. And at the time as well, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, I'm not small enough. Why am I not small enough? And I'd like have episodes outside of social media, because social media makes it look like, oh, everything's all great, like I lost a lot of body fat, yay, it's awesome. But in actual fact, I was like in my room like crying because I wasn't small enough. That's ridiculous, you know. And I'm just glad that, yeah, I'm glad that I've moved away from that now, and that like I can eat whatever the fuck I want. Like I literally had like 4 packets of ice creams yesterday because it was so warm, and I was just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna have whatever I want. And you know, I still feel really good, I still feel really strong. And yeah, and now I just feel like a lot of people have different journeys, and I think for me, I only realized how unhealthy my fitness journey was at the start now that I look back. So yeah, like you said, we need those role models. We need to see people who look like us, who have like just normal body types on social media, and who are lifting as well, you know, and who are like into health and fitness. It doesn't have to be 6-pack abs all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. I ate pasta today.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. It's a journey, isn't it? And I feel like I'm still learning every single day.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you have to like learn the hard way to realize that what you're doing was like not the best for you, like mentally and physically. So like, I mean, I think most people who follow me on Instagram probably know that I kind of go for this muscular kind of curvy figure. And I just think I remember when I first noticed more women like that on Instagram, and I was like, I kind of, after a while, I was like, I kind of get it now. Like I understand why that is muscle, and putting on muscle can sometimes look like it makes you look strong. Sometimes it makes you look more feminine. And I was like, now I can see why being bigger is not a bad thing, and being bigger can be attractive as well. Because I don't know, like you just spend so much time around like seeing media of like just lean people, and then when you see something different and you notice that someone is happy about that and they're healthy, it's just like it's nice. And I think like after seeing all of that was when I kind of changed my course as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like one person I always talk about to you, Georgie, but to everyone, to everyone I know, I always share Stephanie Buttermore's account. She is fantastic, and I think I've loved her like all-in journey over the last like year that she's been doing it. And people who are listening right now and don't know who I'm talking about, definitely check her stuff out. It's fantastic. It's really like empowering, and it shows the journey from going from like someone who's trying to fit into the fitness space on what the fitness industry wants to now being a healthy and happier self. So yeah, no, awesome. Well, I've got one last question for you, Georgie. So I can't talk about fitness and health and all this without asking you what your favorite what your favorite workout day is. So is it upper? Is it lower? Is it cardio? What is it? What's your favorite day?
It's probably the cardio. So I mean, like I said, it's I try to make it fun all the time. So I used to do like an upper lower bodies like training split, and I definitely used to prefer doing upper body. And this was before I thought that like having strong glutes and strong legs was like a thing I should like achieve, so I don't get some muscle imbalance. But then I started realizing I was good at like lower body. I was like, yeah, I like lower body. But then at the beginning of this year, like I started doing these kind of full body workouts. And so I kind of try to do an exercise for every major body part at least every day. And this is funny because you mentioned Stephanie Buttermore and her boyfriend Jeff Nippard. He did this video about full body splits and how it helps you kind of manipulate the amount of volume you do in a week. And I was like, I am sold on this. And so I gave it a go. Right? And now I feel like every day is kind of interesting and fun because I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I think keeping it fun definitely helps, and just kind of doing a little bit of everythth has definitely made it more enjoyable every day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I watched that video and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try and implement it myself, but I've sort of just stuck to like upper, lower, and then hit at the end of the week. But I think I'm due to like switch it up a bit, so I might look into that. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. So awesome. Well, thanks for that, Georgie. And one last question just to end this. I've just looked at the time and I was like, oh my God, we've been talking for so long. Oh my God. But where can people find you online?
So you can find me on Instagram at hey.georgie. You can find me on Twitter at GeorgieCel, CEL. And you can find my blog at Hey Georgie, which if you actually if you type that into Google, this is funny actually, if you type that into Google, you'll see a lot of videos for that famous scene from Stephen King's It, where it's like, hey Georgie, want a balloon? And you'll see these like clown pictures, but then you'll see this blog called Hey Georgie. That's me.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to Google that later. I'm terrified of clowns.
Otherwise, it is hey.georgie.nu.
Amazing. We'll put all the links as usual on the description down here. But yeah, thank you once again, Georgie, for taking the time to be part of Inspiring Figures. It was such an honor to have you. And as usual, I'll be doing like a write-up of our conversation, which you can catch up on inspiringfigures.co. Thanks all, and we'll see you again next month. Bye! Okay, that's good.